Believe it or not, it's just right up there. And what I'm going to do is do a little list. Don't mind me if I like watch the screen to see if we're still alive because it's weird with the internet. And then rule of thumb, try to keep this, Joe Rogan says, about a fist away, and it moves with you. A little closer. That's good. Paul, a guy named Paul.
Hello.
So this is, okay, I have no idea who you are. I had no clue we were going to do the show today, but Carla told me that you are a fantastic guy. I hope she's honest. No, I'm just kidding. And she just said, no, you're a really cool dude. But this is like the epitome of the show. Like, I sincerely, for those that are listening, all I know is that your name is Paul. You're good friends with the Kleins. You're visiting from out of country.
Yes. And
the show is yours, baby. Tell me about it. Who are you? What's going on, man?
Well, like, this is new to me. I like to be thrown in the deep end and take on new challenges. So this is one of my first interviews. Came over with a friend from called Julian from the UK. He's friends with Barry and Carla. Okay. I've never met them before, so that was new to me as well. I have been to Orlando twice before, but never been to Flagler Beach.
Okay.
New experience. And meeting new wonderful people. Experiencing a bit of work with Barry. That was great. And finally, the sun's out.
Yes, it is. When did you get into town?
We arrived Saturday.
Okay. Now you came from where in the UK?
Julian lives in Kent, sort of about an hour from London, but I'm about 3 to 4 hours from London, southwest. Okay. A city called Exeter, Devon.
Football fan?
Football, yes.
Yes. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
So what brought you to the States? Would it be fair to say that are you just like a nomad chilling, traveling the earth right now? Is that what's up?
Pretty much now.
Because that's kind of like a little bit of the cusp. Carla just said that they knew, where did they originally meet you then? Or they didn't meet you? You came with?
I came with Julian, but he's friends with them. So we're actually staying with them.
But you're meeting them for the first time.
Yes.
This is fan-freaking-tastic, man. So you're just free, ready to rock and roll. You're coming to this little town called Flagler Beach. You get here Saturday. And what are these notes? I'm very excited. What is going, what's your life? Like, how did you get here that you're free as a bird? Kids, why, what's going on? How are you so free?
Where do you want me to start?
Yeah, take it from the top, man. This is so fascinating.
Okay. Well, I'm 44. Okay. I've got 2 older sons. Got married when I was quite young and had children when I was quite young. I've always had a bit of an adventure streak, like adventure and travel. And I guess when I got married, I had to suppress that and take on the responsibilities. But I thought, why? So when we had our second son, when he was only 2, we sold a house and went traveling around the world as a family.
Wow. Can you give me a timestamp, give or take, like what year that was?
This was 16 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you made the decision to go. That was your second or first son, you said?
Second.
Second son, you're feeling the confounds of the world and you're saying, let's go travel.
Yeah. So and
Mrs. is on board with this?
Yeah, well, she was a home bird. She had never been on a plane before.
Wow.
And I said, look, come on, let's go. And all our friends, we met at college and we got married at 20 and we had 2 sons and all our friends were up and traveling. Why not spoke English with the idea that we may want to emigrate there. So we went to America. Saw America, started actually in Orlando.
Okay. And first stop Orlando.
Yeah, we thought to start our world tour, we'd do a sort of actual holiday, show the kids all the theme park type things. And that was actually the time when 9/11 happened. Oh, man. So we were in the Disney parks and
you literally were in the Disney park as 9/11 was transpiring.
Queuing up for a ride. And they closed the ride. Thought, okay, we'll queue for another ride. No, we're closing this park. Okay, we'll go to another park.
Wow.
No, we have to ship you back to your hotel. What's going on? No one would tell us what was going on until we got back and saw it on the news. Because flying from England to Florida, the security was sort of relaxed compared to what it is now.
Right.
We could take
so you
kids
just
up to
made
the
it before things went crazy.
Yeah. And then from that on, traveling every flight from then onwards, it was
nuts.
Nuts.
How long did you spend in Orlando?
2 weeks. that time, but we came back for another week a couple of years after that as well.
Super candid question, and please be honest, which I'm sure you will be, but your first impressions of the United States of America, especially Orlando, was it like, this is weird, or was this cool? Was it like, I mean, obviously Disney is not necessarily a reflection of the United States of America, but it is kind of a good, it's the commercialization is a good, was it, I'm sure the kids were loving it, but what was your first impressions? Was that your first time in the States?
Yeah.
Wow. What are your first, you know what I mean? What was like?
Yeah, we had friends that had been to Florida and Orlando, so we had sort of tips and ideas.
Okay.
But I was brought up, my parents hated that sort of thing. They wanted to go more sort of historical and places that we could go for walks and explore places, not the artificial things. But yeah, I love all those rides. Our kids were a bit young to go on the rides, so
Well, you had what, 2? You said one was 2.
Yeah, one was 2 and one was 8. So traveling with a 2-year-old, having to sort of
God bless,
changing nappies on things like that on the planes, that was an experience as well. So the 8-year-old loved it, and he can remember all the travels. The 2-year-old,
it's like, where was I? So 2 weeks, was that the whole time was spent in Orlando, or did you start?
Yeah, mainly just Orlando. That time we didn't even hire a car; we just relied on the public transport to ferry us around.
Nice.
But then we went up. My wife at the time, she had relatives in Canada, so we went to Canada.
Oh wow!
Explored Canada. Then we went on to New Zealand. All through, we hired a camp van there, so we did both North and South Island.
Don't mind me; I'm just making sure we're still good here.
And then we travelled over to Australia. Did a fair bit of Australia.
Wait, so you went straight from you're in Canada now, and then you're going across the pond all the way to Australia?
I think. No, we went from Canada. So the last stop in Canada was Toronto.
Okay.
No, sorry, Vancouver. Then we went Vancouver, stopped off at Hawaii, and then on to New Zealand.
Wow. This is amazing. During these travels, because this is what's fascinating to me, are things going well, or is life happening? It
was, certainly a big, because we got together quite young, so we didn't really know what we wanted out of life, other than then we settled down our kids. So this was a big sort of, okay, this is time we're going to get to know each other properly, and it did put pressure on our relationship. I mean, we've thoroughly enjoyed and had no regrets about the travels. Well, I certainly didn't.
Right.
But within a couple of years of coming back, I decided to go to university to further my education and then have a career to sort of support the family. But yeah, within a few years, our relationship was over.
Really? So these are all off the cusp questions, Paul. A lot of people that hear people that are traveling, and that's pushed more now digitally than anything. This nomadic digital lifestyle and live off the grid. The number one question is always how did you pay for it? Do you mind me asking? How did you supply? How did you get in? How did you have income coming in to supply for 2 kids and the missus?
Yeah, we were quite fortunate in the sense we managed to get on the housing market when we were quite young in England. And then the housing market just sort of shot up. So we thought, well, this is a good time. Sell the house, use some of the savings from the house sale to travel the world. But within that period of traveling, the housing market actually went even higher.
Right.
But so when we got back, all we could afford was a really small property.
Right.
And then I did my degree, but by the time the degree had ended, sort of our relationship was over. So I had to leave the family, left my ex-wife, the home and the kids. And that was the hardest thing, leaving my sons. That's because they
give me a timestamp then.
So I think my young son was 5. So this was 13 years ago.
Okay.
So that sort of changed my career path in the way, because I wanted to spend quality time with my sons.
Right.
So I then ended up.
By that time, though, you're back in England.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were only traveling for about 6 months in the end because we were traveling as a family. We couldn't get a working visa.
Oh, I see.
But the intention was to potentially move abroad at that time.
But nothing really struck your fancy. You were kind of keeping your options open.
Yeah.
What a decision, though. I mean, as I'm becoming this adulting thing to make a decision to sell your house and to peace out and have nowhere to, I mean, I'm sure you had maybe some relatives and family and maybe somewhere to, God forbid, but like you literally sold your life home and you left.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a lot of, that's fascinating. That's talking about a growing experience. So now fast forward, you're back in England. You had said you had furthered your education, went to university.
Yep.
You did a full 4 years.
This was 3 years, but I was starting to become, did my fourth year to become actually a teacher of design and technology, but then going through a divorce and separation whilst trying to do studies, it was too much. So I had to quit the studies and then changed my sort of career path. I went self-employed doing property maintenance to give me the freedom to spend time with my sons. And they're already passionate about soccer, football.
Yes.
So I got involved in coaching and managing their football teams.
Now, for those, we actually have a large audience and people that that are from your homeland. Where in England where are we there at that part?
Well, we've always lived in the southwest.
Okay, so you went right back to where you were. Okay.
Yeah. But my brother and a lot of my friends support Liverpool, as in the Premiership team. There's a look there. Was that a Man U fan or something?
No. This is so exciting because I could talk football with you all day. I wanted to jump on it for a hot minute, the football world.
Yeah.
I mean, so your family primarily Liverpool fans?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your club?
Well, our local one's Exeter, but that's in quite a low division.
Oh, is it the second or even third?
Yeah, sort of
yeah. I start to lose, unfortunately, being in the States. The second, like I know about the Wolves now coming up to first. That's fantastic. So I know if they're in the Premier, I know of them. But yeah, the Liverpool, man. So they were
the team
they make
follow in the 80s. They were like the
right.
top.
Well, they're back.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, fingers crossed they're going to win it this year.
Do you like them, or they make you? I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that's a religion out there, which I wish it was in the States. It's happening slowly, but like for instance, I have a friend who's an Arsenal fan, and that's blood. I've got that, and like all the other clubs, it's especially the derbies and stuff like that. If you had to pick a team in the Premier, what's your?
Yeah, it would be Liverpool.
Liverpool,
but it was my brother was the real football fan, and he was the one that sort of encouraged my sons to follow Liverpool. He's like, as soon as the first like T-shirt he bought my youngest son at the time was like a Liverpool shirt. It's like, you're going to support Liverpool. I'm more into the bigger games like the World Cup. I sort of follow their games, but I'm not an avid supporter. I just got involved because my sons loved it.
Right.
I prefer to take part in sport rather than watch the sport.
So back to that. So you're there, your kids are growing up. You said you're going independent. You're working, you're doing your own thing. What's the next step what's your next revelation for Paul? You're like, your kids are getting older, you're staying there, but at some point where you start traveling again, is that what happens? Or
okay, so fast forward for a few years, like my sons were going through school and college.
Yep.
They got passionate about a sport called Ultimate Frisbee.
Okay.
And so they were still playing football, but through their local school, their PE teacher got them involved in Ultimate Frisbee, and their school was like national champions.
Wow. And
through that, they got involved in trialing out for under 17s nationals. So both of them have gone on and captained their country for Ultimate Frisbee for under 17s and under 20s.
Damn.
Last year, my younger son, he captained the under 20s and was in Canada.
Wow. God bless.
So I was following that and helping them support as well as football, Ultimate Frisbee, and various other sports, getting involved in their school activities. But then for me, my passion was to sort of keep them happy and spend time with them. But outside of that, I was doing running. My passion for sport was just sort of individual sports, running and
You've always been that kind of. You're in great shape, man. You're 40-some-odd years old.
Coming up to 45.
God bless. You really are. You're in great shape.
Thank you. I feel a bit unfit at the moment compared to what I have been. But
so running was kind of anything
from 5K upwards. I've done 5 London marathons, and it was yeah, so a few years after separating from my wife, I thought, I've got nothing to lose. And I had the opportunity to get into business with a friend I met on a business course. And we set up an online fishing platform.
Nice.
I've got no experience or passion for fishing, but he felt that I had a bit more knowledge and drive to drive the business forward, and I had some contacts. But unfortunately, within a year, he could talk the talk, but he couldn't walk the walk, and the business went under. So it left me in a lot of financial stress.
Give me a timestamp. What is this, like a couple of years ago? Or
No, this was about 7-8 years ago.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So I was pretty much broke, homeless, and at the time, shortly before I started the business, I met another person, and we ended up getting engaged.
Okay.
Because of the pressure of the business, she actually ended our relationship 4 weeks before we were due to get married. So I'd hit rock bottom.
Damn,
I was
Paul.
like,
this is serious.
I was pretty much had a nervous breakdown. And I was like, where's my life taking me? What's going to go on now? So I started getting back into fitness because like running, that was my way of feeling good and feeling happy. And exercise is always a good way to sort of get out. So I started training. I aimed to do the London Marathon again, which I think at the time that would have been my fourth London Marathon. So I needed something to focus on out of all the things that was going on in my life. So I trained for that. And I got to at that time I thought I'm just going to go by myself. So caught the train, did the marathon, and I was aiming to sort of try and get a PB. I wanted to aim to get under 4 hours. But I hadn't pushed myself in the training. And within, I could see the time ticking away. And I was just sort of about 500 meters from the finish line. I thought, I've got to sprint. I was pushing myself to my max, and my heart was like, and then within 100 meters of the finish line, pop.
Stop it.
My lung collapsed. I crossed the finish line. I knew what the experience was because I'd had a collapsed lung before.
Damn.
And the first time I had it, I was just coming down my brother's stairs, out of breath, and I went to the doctors, and he actually thought I just had a chest infection, gave me antibiotics, and I was like, felt like I had an asthma attack. Went back to him, and he said that maybe you should have a X-ray and check out your.
Yeah.
After the X-ray, he said, you don't need antibiotics. You've got a collapsed lung. That's not going to do anything. So I had to have just a key. They drew the air out and sort of it just self-mended itself at that time. But they said if it happens again, you're going to have surgery. So when I crossed the finish line at the London Marathon,
you knew.
I knew that. And I thought, if I'm going to stay in London, they're going to put me up in a hospital. So I had no friends or family with me at the time.
Really?
So I caught a train back to Exeter, like a 4-hour journey
with a broken lung.
I thought, and I arrived back in my home city. It's probably late evening. I thought, I don't want to go to hospital now. So I slept on a collapsed lung.
Damn, Paul.
And I didn't want to worry my parents. So the next morning, I walked into the hospital and said, I've got a collapsed lung. So that was
as of yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday when I finished the London Marathon.
Golly.
And so then I was out of action for 6 weeks. So,
they had to do the surgery?
Did the surgery.
I've never even heard of such a thing.
Keyhole surgery. So it looks like I've got like a bullet wound because it's gone in.
Damn. So 6 weeks you're kind of like bed resting?
Not bed ready. I wasn't. I was in hospital for about 3 days, I think. And by the time 3 or 4 days, and I just can't stay in a bed. It's
right.
Like, if I stay in here one more day, I'm ripping these cables out and walking out.
Losing it.
But so I had the surgery, and they said, you should be fine because they just actually stitch up the lung where it's burst and then bond it to your rib cage.
Wow.
Apparently it happens a lot if you're in the Navy and you're deep sea diver or whatever. And they said that, it should be fine now. Once you've recovered, you can go back to a normal life.
Even athletically speaking?
Yeah.
Thank God.
They can't guarantee that there's no other weaknesses in any other parts of your lung, but that particular area,
It's like stronger now.
Strong, yeah.
Wow.
So
Could
6 weeks we've no
would
driving or anything.
Would it be a safe statement that because you're sharing some of the good, bad, and ugly, were you like you're for those first couple of days you just blew your lung out and there's a lot of jazz going on in your life? Are you freaking out, man? Are you like
Yeah.
Are you feeling like, why can't I catch a break here? Or are you has Paul discovered himself? That's like kind of like your come to Jesus moment, so to speak. Are you like, you know what I mean? Like, where are you?
No,
where is Paul as a
thinking,
man?
Well, I was thinking, so yeah, after feeling like I'd hit rock bottom sort of financially in business and in my relationship,
Right.
I thought, okay, well, at least I got my health. Go
Right.
do the London Marathon. Boom, my
Boom.
health's gone. I thought, oh, wow, what's going on here? Thought, okay, I got to be thankful for something. I always try to see the positive or thank blessings for something. So I was thinking, well, okay, well, at least I've got a loving, supportive family that's there for me. And unfortunately, with it, so that was in April. April. Just trying to work out the year. 2012. London Marathon, April 2012. But come June that year, because I've got two younger brothers, and one lives further up country, but the middle one, because I'm the oldest one, he lives in the same city as me, and he's married with two daughters. But in June that year, 2012, most of our family were actually away doing things. I was on a course, and then suddenly we get a message saying that he's been taken into hospital.
Which one of your brothers?
Yeah.
Damn. Older? You're the oldest.
Yeah,
middle?
The middle one, yeah.
Damn.
And he's the one that is married with two daughters. It just literally at that time had his second daughter, was only like one. And so they had to call an ambulance out. He had a massive headache, and they didn't realise what it was. So he was taken to the hospital in Exeter. And through various tests, they realised that he'd had a brain hemorrhage, a blood leak. And they had to take him to another neighbouring hospital in Plymouth, which is like an hour away.
How old is at that time?
At that time, he was 36.
Jeez.
So he was taken there. He was conscious, but they said that he had to go into surgery to release the pressure,
immediately.
Pretty much. So we sort of found out and all sort of rushed back and got to the hospital, but he'd already at that time gone through the surgery and was put into a induced coma to recover. And so we were beside his bed for 2 weeks, and they had to have a second operation, but he was never awake during this time. And unfortunately, within 2 weeks, we had to make the decision to turn off his life support machine.
It's horrible, man.
So
you're just getting, golly, bro.
Yeah, and he was my best man at my wedding. He's one of my best mates, and it's like, what's going on here?
Can't catch a break.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you sharing this, by the way. This is powerful stuff, man. And by the way, you talk whatever you want to talk about, because this is really, really special. So you've got to be, holy bananas. I can't even imagine where you're at as a human being, man. Like all this is, like you said, you're trying to find the good, and it's like boom, 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 boom.
Well, I think from that experience somehow, through the previous experiences of like just everything that had gone on, there was a sort of a bit of a gap within those sort of 2 years of everything going on. But almost now looking back, that was almost I try and see it as a platform to cope with losing my brother. So I sort of took on the role of being the rock for my family, because like it just totally tore my parents apart.
Imagine.
And my other brother, and obviously his wife and
his kids.
daughters, yeah.
Golly.
So it didn't really affect me straight away, because I was just like trying to support everyone else and organize.
Yeah, like you haven't even thought about, you haven't had a moment to.
No. So we like for a whole 2 years. Well, I helped because he was head of a PE at a local high school, and he played soccer. He was very good at soccer. He taught soccer, So there's so many people that affected him
I'm
because
sure.
he sort of touched so many lives positively. So at the funeral, it was like it filled the church, over 400 people, but because so many from his school, like 1,000 people, pupils and staff wanted to be there, we just can't cater for that. So we had to have a second sort of memorial service at the school. And I'm not one for public speaking, but I somehow drew up that strength for this is for my brother. So I stood in front of like 1,000 people and gave a speech.
Hell yeah, bro. Like a eulogy, right? Like
Yeah.
I've been there. I know that feeling. Not for my brother, but not blood brother, but it was the worst day of my life. I know. I kind of feel it was I know. Do you remember any of that day, or do you, if you look back the day of the speech, there is it kind of like, I don't remember.
I sort of wrote some notes because I didn't want it to be depressing. I thought,
right,
like, from my brother's perspective, he would want everyone to sort of get on with their life, and so we created a sort of a logo and a sort of strap line. It was like, believe you can achieve, because come on, you everyone's got something in them that they can work on and achieve. Because he, through sport, he helped a lot of kids that struggled either academically or had troubles at home.
Through the football,
through lots of sport, just getting them involved in sport.
That was his segue, though. He was like through kids. That was how he mentored these kids and was a role model.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, and so many of the staff, and he got involved in a lot of sport outside of school as well. So it really affected a lot of people, but it drew also a lot of people together. So I helped organise some tribute events. So we did a tribute football match.
Nice.
So his ex-football team played against some of his students that were played football as well. Did a charitable run, which was about 200 miles around the county we lived in to raise money for a local charity.
Nice.
And then some friends and family, we did so England, Scotland and Wales, they've got the highest mountains in each of those counties. So we did climb those 3 mountains within 20 hours.
And you're kind of heading these up?
Yeah.
That's what's up. So you're starting to kind of find a purpose.
Exactly, yeah. So I felt, actually, I'm getting quite excited, sort of finding a passion to have a bit of adventure and challenge, but a bit of leadership and organization, but giving back to people or charities.
All in the name of your brother, too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is going on for a couple months or like a few?
At least a year, that was.
Man,
yeah.
Awesome.
So almost I was like, that was my focus, not work.
No looking back, and then it just
Yeah.
I love it.
But within 2 years, I sort of, because I was focusing on that and sort of helping everyone else sort of come to terms with this loss, it didn't really fully affect me. So it's like, then suddenly I felt the grief come over to me, because I was like started to calm down and sort of
life is going on.
Life is going on. Sort of, yeah.
When was this? Like maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and now all of a sudden, the earth is spinning, and you're not really moving at the same speed here.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's starting to kind of. I know exactly how this feels, man. So you're kind of. So we're, like I said, is it a year and a half, 2 year stamp about right?
Yeah. So this was about 5 years ago, maybe now. We lost him in June 2012, and it's like sort of waking up and thinking, what am I meant to be doing?
Right.
And I'd taken him to because before this happened, he was going through some sort of bit of tough time in his own life, thinking a bit of anxiety and a bit of depression. But I mean, he's a very positive person, but he was focusing on his family and other people, and his and he was saying, like, one of the questions that he put to this vicar was like, why do the good die young? And then suddenly within a year it died. And it's like, it was a wake up call to me, thinking, okay, well, life is short and precious. Stop worrying about your own little problems, or just get on with it. So then thought, okay, I needed something else to focus on now. And my son's PE teacher, he was a good runner, and he knew that I'd done quite a few different races. He said, well, if you want the ultimate running experience or ultimate challenge, there's a race called the Marathon des Sables, short MDS. And it's got a reputation for being the toughest foot race on the planet. It's 6 consecutive marathons. So 6 days with, almost 6 consecutive marathons in Morocco across the Sahara Desert.
Wow. I've never heard of this.
I did a bit of research, and I managed to get a place for a charity. And I think I only had maybe 6 to 8 months preparation to train for it. So I thought, okay, well, this is going to focus on my mind. It's all or nothing now, really.
Right.
So yeah, I got a professional guy that deals with sport and coaching some top athletes to put a program together for me. And that was my main emphasis, to train for this race. And obviously Britain is not renowned for Sahara weather. So it's,
you don't say.
Tried to train.
You don't have a desert.
And this was like the winter as well. So
right.
I was just trying to cover as many miles as I could within a week. And just wearing so many layers to get your body temperature up.
Acclimated with what you're headed for. What was the month that the race is in? Don't say summer or their summer.
Well, I think it pretty much stays.
It's probably,
the temperature is like mid to high 40 degrees
Golly.
In there, and you have to carry all your kit for a week. All your food, all your clothes. They provide the water, so you're capped at about 11 liters of water a day, and you choose when you want to have it. But other than that, you're just sleeping under a basic tent. We had like sandstorms. You have to carry your own sleeping bag, and you have to have minimal 2,000 calories to sort of.
I can imagine.
But I mean, I was more like 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day, plus like 10 liters of water. But yeah, running a marathon, it's hard enough. But carrying all your kit and in the heat and across some really soft sand is pretty challenging.
So Paul's finding himself in this. It's 6 days. The rate.
Yeah.
Are you like, you made it through? Did you make it through the race? Did you bust along? Or you got over there?
The year I did it, 2016. Which was early April 2016 when it was the race. So we flew over to Morocco, and the first couple of days you're trying to acclimatize to the heat,
right?
So you do feel a bit sort of dizzy.
You're all jet lag. You're all a mess.
Sort of thinking, what have I done? And
why am I here?
When we started the race,
are you solo? Like, are you by yourself? Or you have family, friends, anything with you?
No, I flew over by myself.
You in this solo business. I love that. Okay.
But the race is
I know there's
a reputation, and there's like 1,200 competitors.
No, I'm sure that, but I'm just saying, you're alone, man.
Exactly. Wow. I wanted that because I'm being out, and sometimes when you're out in the race in the desert and there's a sandstorm, you can't see in front of you. It's just you and your mind think.
That's it.
This is time to think about what's going on.
Yeah. This is powerful stuff, man. So now did you make it through the whole race?
Yeah.
God bless.
It had about 10% dropout through dehydration was a big killer. One person had a cardiac arrest, survived, but he was flown out. But one of the biggest things was damage to your feet, severe blisters. My feet were shredded to bits. You have
the sand in the shoe and the
you have most people get these gaiters, so you stitch the gaiters to your shoes, then it comes up to you like just below your knee to stop the sand getting in your shoe.
Okay.
And I've never really suffered from blisters, so I thought it should be fine. But what caused my damage was the tailor that stitched the gaiters to my shoes did the stitching above the insole of the trainer. So it was the stitching that ripped my feet together, not the actual sand. And
how fast did you start getting the blisters?
Like the first day. Well, it wasn't just blisters; it was ripping your skin
off. Damn, Paul.
The third day, they have a full-on medical team, and so I went there. And
is there an entry? I'm sure there's an entry fee, right? Financial entry fee.
Oh, Yeah.
Mind me asking what that was?
I think through the charity, we had to raise almost £5,000. But I think it's quite expensive race.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
Wow. But you did it. So you're there. Now can you go back to it in your head? Do you remember those days? Are they the worst days of your life at that, like, physically speaking? Or
It's like a mixture of the most extreme and sort of gratitude that wow, I'm achieving this.
Right.
But then you're going through so much immense pain. One of the stages, because most of them vary from about 20 to plus miles each day. The long stage is 50 miles within 24 hours because they want you to run during the night. So in the middle of the day, it's like high 40s. At night, it drops to almost minus temperatures. And you're running, and it's pitch black. You've got a head torch, and you're trying to guide yourself through this desert.
I don't mean to laugh, but this is like, this is unbelievable. This is what probably going to get to a point where you're molding Paul. Paul's being molded in these moments, right? In this moments of despair and full grind, you're like you're learning more about yourself in those 6 days than you probably ever knew.
Yeah.
Right.
There was like some top athletes that had done like Ironmans and things like that. A lot of them were also ex-military, so they're sort of quite really fit people, and they've been through a lot, so they can dig deep to get through this.
Right.
Or experience in the desert. This was my first experience of like an ultra run in extreme temperatures. But some of these top people, if it wasn't for the dehydration and the foot fatigue, they were just dropping out and saying, I can't cope. I've had enough.
Right.
But what pulled most people through is like, you've got to have something that's going to pull you through.
And this too.
Yeah.
But
it's not necessarily, it's not that you're peak fitness.
Right.
You, like with any sport or anything, it's like mind over matter.
Yeah.
And the second to last stage was the actual marathon stage, so 26 miles. And my feet were shredded, and I'd like, on the third stage, I was just collapsed in my tent, and I thought, I can't carry on. But my tent buddy was sort of, come on, just get some food down you.
Right.
But I was just sat there looking out this sort of desert and the sandstorm, and I had a voice in my head, and I swear it was my brother.
Hell yeah.
But also what had was like nothing barren with the desert, and what came flying past, suddenly stopped in front of me, was a white feather. And I never sort of thought anything like that. But my sister-in-law said, if you ever see like a white feather, it's like an angel of like lost ones. Stopped there for a bit, and then it just blew off. And there was nothing around. Whoa, that's a meaning or something. And the next day was the marathon stage. And I was pretty shocked physically, emotionally, and drained and pain.
I can imagine.
Took a few painkillers. I thought, right, this is from my brother. And I was one of the first back.
Damn, this is so good. This is so powerful, man. So you're finishing. I can't imagine. Like, do you remember that moment? You had a 10% dropout rate of the race.
Yeah.
And here you are. You crossed the line.
Yeah. So
Paul's crossed the line.
That was the officially the end of the race. And because it's organized by.
Did you lose it? Were you like on the floor crying? I've seen photos and videos of people that accomplish such feats, and they kind of go to this like pure euphoria and like the release of just everything from the like it's overload in a good way. Did you lose it, or was it
not
like,
at that time? Because I
just
just like
this.
It didn't really sink in,
Didn't
because
register.
I knew, even though we'd technically finished the race, we had one more stage to which in a way is they call it just to get back to the coaches to then take us to the hotel. So we had another 10 kilometers to travel the next day.
Jeez.
But I'd given everything for that marathon.
Right.
And I was like literally crawling back to the coaches the next day. That's when it sort of really hit home. Wow, I finished it.
You did it.
Yeah.
God bless you, man. What a powerful. So give me what's the time? What's the year then? It's about like
this was April 2016.
Okay. So like not too long ago, man.
No,
It's pretty fresh.
yeah.
And you
and I thought, wow, I've just achieved one of the hardest foot races in the world. I never intended to sort of race it. It was just
to accomplish it.
Yeah.
And you end up competing.
Yeah. Well,
well, you end up doing well because this is unbelievable.
And then so I get home and it's like, yeah, done it. And I couldn't go straight back into work because I was like pretty shot and needed some recovery time. But the charity I was running for, they will also do various other get involved in various other events, and they had a place for the London Marathon, which literally a week after finishing the Marathon des Sables, I thought, well, I'm not going to get a good time, but I'm up for doing it for a bit of a laugh.
You animal!
I'd put all the training in. My feet were all still strapped up, so you couldn't see any of my skin. But I thought, right, okay, I'm physically probably my fittest peak of fitness, but yes, I'm still pretty knackered from the MDS.
Right.
So I thought, I'm going to do a bit of fun. I'm going to do it in fancy dress. And I thought, okay, what could I go as? What's London famous for? So I made this costume dressed as Big Ben. But I hadn't really planned it properly. I found a printer to blow up this photo of 4 sides of Big Ben and got some sort of plasticated cardboard, which they make like cell signs. Arrived in London the night before the race, and I'd never worn the costume, never put it together. I stayed up till like 2 a.m. making this costume, never worn it before. Thought, how am I going to run in this?
Right.
So I put it together and then caught the train into where the start of the race. Taller than me, came to sort of my knees, so it's hard to move my legs, and I had to hold it with my arms. But I managed to get through the races. Like, I mean, the London Marathon, a lot of these big marathons, they have so many different people dressed as.
Well, I was just going to say, is it kind of that's accepted? They didn't think that you were making a mockery of.
No.
Okay, I'm not familiar. I mean, I'm familiar with marathons, etc., but I didn't know if it was like a prestigious thing where like, what's this guy dressed as Big Ben over there? It was accepted. I'm sure it was
They have the elite athletes right at the front. They've got celebrities. Then
okay.
Got, like, the masses.
Because you weren't doing it to compete, more so just like I'm in great physical condition.
I mean,
even though my feet are falling off.
Charity, so they encourage people, obviously, to raise money for the charities. So a lot of people do it in fancy dress, and it got a lot of attention.
I'm sure.
And I managed to sort of cross the finish line. But within, it was probably about 2 weeks after that, I can't remember if it was a letter or an email or something, through the Guinness Book of Records.
Oh, come on.
I've got a world record for finishing a marathon dressed as a famous landmark.
No one had ever done that.
Well, they're dressed up.
Dressed up, but you were the first one to do it in like one of your own.
Yeah.
Wow.
The fastest
And you didn't know any of this. This was all unbeknownst to you?
Well, I did, for a bit of laugh, I did look up to see what some people had known, gone as all sorts of things, like from Superman to wearing a shoe or a bottle. I knew there was like these different categories that you could potentially get a world record.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So you achieved the world record? Did you really get in there?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm officially in the book, but if you look it up on the website,
So I have a Guinness World Record holder on the show.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. But in addition to the accolades that you have as a human being, man, this is powerful stuff. So would it be safe to say at this point in time in life is Paul finding a rhythm? Are you finding you're finding some chippery? You're finding like a rhythm here, or are you still kind of like?
Well, since that, I haven't done anything physical challenging, but I've got more into the passion of what was it last year? April last year was a huge wake up call for me. I had the opportunity. I did another charitable run to raise some money for an organization that they do education out in Malawi. And my son's school take kids out there for residential.
Okay.
And through that, I got part of a building team through the charity to go out and build 7 classrooms in 6 days, I think it was.
Wow.
So we went out there.
Where was this?
In Malawi, Africa.
Oh my gosh. So
it's quite a rural part. And yeah, it was a big wake up call to see that the poverty, because it's one of the poorest countries in the world, but how the kids and the adults were just so happy with very little.
Right.
And that was like, it made me really appreciate for what I had,
Right.
and thinking, wow, if these people can be happy with what they've got, and they're going through so much more.
Right.
I mean, so many people were like dying from malaria or poverty, malnutrition and things like this. And seeing the orphanage, the kids just run up to you and give you hugs and want to play with you. And how the kids...
Your son was with you on this?
No.
Or no? It was just the school that your son belonged.
Well, yeah, it was originally set up through the school, but they have a separate charity. I was involved in the charity to go over there with a group of guys.
How long were you there for? You said
that time was 10 days. So we built these timber frames, dug the holes to put the foundations in, and then built these timber frames. And then the local carpenters would help put the tin roofing on. And then they'll do clay bricks to build the walls up. So we took all the ropes over there, but they obviously you don't have cranes or anything, so we had to hike these massive timber frames up by manpower in quite a lot of heat. But that was a big wake up call.
So you've been, I don't want to skip anything chronologically, but you had been back there because you had just said you've done.
So
tour?
After that project, we through the school they take out some of the kids every year for a residential, and I think because of my passion and being involved in the charity and raising money and stuff, they invited me to go because they had one adult helper short. They invited me to go with school as well. So within a year, I'd gone out in April last year, and then it was June, July of last year I went out the second time.
Nice, man. What a feeling. Did you get to see some of the fruits of your labor taking effect? The places that you had built were probably...
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
It was really helping the community, because before...
Did anybody remember you?
Oh, yeah, the locals.
Yeah.
They had, hundreds of kids in this little area. And the guys I was working with, they take the mick out of me because I would like spend some time working, but also entertaining the kids.
Right.
It's like wherever I would go, all these kids would come follow me. And one time they got like a dirt football pitch.
Ooh.
And I invited all the pupils from one end of the football pitch. So, right, we're going to have a race everywhere. It's like, all the kids running across this
Was
field.
there any issue with communication, or did they...
They do have their own, they have a few different languages, but Malawi is actually part of the Commonwealth, so they teach English. So a lot of them do speak English.
So you could get by. It wasn't that...
Yeah.
And then people are always fascinated too. The minute they do go to another country that doesn't speak the language, you'd be surprised how much you can get by with just this. You don't always have to have this.
No.
So I'm sure, the children must have been. I've had that experience a couple times. Nothing that drastic. I've been to a couple countries that were not up to par, if you want to call it, and the kids always seem to be the best because kids in general are the best.
Yeah.
They're just honest and sincere.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it had to been quite the experience. Like you're running around with them and
just basic games that you do. Or taking a frisbee,
right.
Football. We took some balloons and like just paper and pencils, and they just get so excited about blowing a balloon up and playing with a balloon.
Yeah. Isn't it funny when you strip yourself of like all the fancies and what really people... I had a stint where I was living somewhere for about a little while that didn't have anything cool. And the community was so enriched with this and the little thing. Like you said, it could be as simple as a football pitch.
Yeah.
And like that was all that's the town revolved around that. I don't know. So you're having like, yet again, you've gone through a lot of good and bad, but all of them ultimately, it sounds like so far, Paul, they've all been wonderful building blocks, not stumbling blocks through the process. I know they don't happen overnight, but so that's got to be your second stint out there was like, we said like maybe 2017-ish.
No, it's literally last year.
Oh, literally last year.
Yeah.
Wow. So who's Paul now? What's going on? Like, you're here in the States, but do you have like, once again, the common question is always going to be, how do you pay your bills? That's everyone's wanting always when you get a traveler, there's that. How's this guy? Do you mind me once again kind of asking, how are you? Because I know you said you're even helping today with Barry and them. So are you kind of doing just what picking up odd and end jobs as you're traveling, paying things? Or, and by the way, if I ask anything that's, you could tell me, shut up, bro. It's not my, but I'm only doing what I'm sure most everyone else is curious of. Yeah. Because this lifestyle in general, this nomadic, and don't get me wrong, I know you like home will always be England, and you still got your kids are there. Are they left or are they still?
Yeah, well, my older one, he graduated from another city in England, Leeds.
Awesome.
And he's now living in London with his girlfriend and some mates.
Nice.
He's training to become a primary school teacher.
Nice.
My young one, he turns 19 soon, and he's going to be graduating from college. He hasn't got necessarily an idea of career path. Don't think he wants to go to university. Both of them still passionate about sport and ultimate frisbee.
Nice.
I think Jamie, my young one, he's going to be captain for the under-20s again.
Heck yeah.
This coming summer.
You guys keep in touch?
Oh yeah.
Pretty good? Awesome.
Yeah, all the time, yeah.
Nice.
Because I was there during their football days and the school days, and because I had them quite young, there's not a huge age gap, certainly between me and my older son.
Yeah.
So a lot of their mates almost like see me as one of their mates.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I'm thankful that I have that great relationship, because I always thought I could have furthered my education, could have got a good job. But to me, my sons and all the things I've done, achieved, all my challenges, marathon Saab, world record, I'll give up all of those in an instant. Like, my biggest achievement will always be my sons.
It's awesome, man. That's really cool. So like I said, where are we at? What's going on? Are you here? Like, what's next? You're after Flagler Beach, Florida. Where are we going?
Yeah. Well, Julian, the guy I'm traveling in the States with, I'd literally only met him last year as well.
This is great.
I just got this. I used to be not an angry or stressful person, but everything was planned, like being in the family.
Structured, dude.
Structured, yeah. And now I just go with the flow. It's like,
right.
Yes, like you say.
When did you have your breakthrough? When you were like, I'm done with this box life.
I think it's been not necessarily a wake up call just like that. It's been a combination of different things. Yeah,
happen.
And certainly when I went out to Malawi and just seen how passionate they were about living life to their full, and being appreciative of the little things they had, wow, I've got so much to be thankful for.
Right.
And that was a bit of a mojo, like, oh yeah, I got my mojo back. This is like, okay, life is short. I'm going to live it. And obviously the effects of losing my brother and then achieving certain events in my life, think, okay,
right,
maybe this is sort of the path I'm meant to go. And I love traveling, meeting new people, and feel like I can maybe leave something with them that impacts their life, and learn from other people, and then keep passing it on. So I haven't necessarily got a set plan or path, but I'm still working when I can.
Right.
I still got a sort of day job when I'm back home working, but I'm fortunate in the sense that I haven't really got much overhead, so I've cut right back.
Yep.
So I sort of save up when I can, and then
smart.
Julian, as meeting him, only last year on a retreat in France. Then we had the opportunity. He's got a project that we're hoping to set up in Spain.
Nice.
So we were driving. He offered me to come over to Italy, and we drove literally from one end to Italy to the other, picking up these vintage Ducati motorbikes. And the idea is that to set up a hotel in Spain with a Ducati motorbike museum, but also to hire out these bikes, to have a hotel and a bit of a restaurant cafe. So that could be possibly later this year.
Wow. When do you have a plan when you're going back to Spain?
Well, we're waiting for the confirmation from the mayor to say that, yes.
Where in Spain, do you know?
It's about an hour from Malaga airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. This is fascinating.
But I've got lots of ideas and dreams and things. And I think my passion is to be a bit adventurous and challenge and explore. I mean, I'd love to just keep traveling to as many countries as possible.
I think it's you brought up a couple key points that are really interesting, and I'm sure I don't know. I've actually never been to England yet, but I don't know. Here in the States, it's very easy for us to fall victim to the big house, the big car, the fancy things, and it's all fun and games. I have a belief that if it's disposable income, then God bless. Drive the Porsche 911s and do your things. I enjoy those, but I'm on that track where if you're in my house and you see me and you see I'm keeping it. I live as pretty much close to broke as possible, and if I got extra $10, I think traveling is probably the most. And I know that kind of like from a digital perspective, everyone's like, I want to travel. So it's kind of that allure it's there, but it's kind of like beaten with a lot of these people that sell it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that can be packaged.
No.
And it's not something that it can't be duplicated, in my opinion. So like what you experienced in Africa, you could literally try to like put it in that package. You'd be like, go here, do that, do this, do that. And if I'm, lack of better words, a jerk, I'm not going to get that probably same experience if I go there with this, jaded opinion, or I'm mad, or I'm whatever it is.
No.
You have to be willing to experience it, be part of that culture, be part of that situation. And I don't know, man, I'm really enjoying this talk with you because once again, for those that may just be listening, I have no idea who you are. And this is like unbelievable. And most people that come on the show, I don't know who they are I may have not met them, but I know of them. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the guy, he runs this, or that's the girl, she does this. Yeah. I literally had no idea about who you are. And we share something in common. And I had lost it wasn't my blood brother, but he was very, very dear to me, had just made me the godfather to his kid. And he, about 5-6 years ago, right before I got married, I've been married 6 years in March, this last month. And it was tough, man. It was, you have that opportunity. And the guy I had on the show yesterday, we were talking about this, like just problem solving and being dealt cards that ultimately suck. And there's something really passionate and very important that I hope is coming out of this show and anybody else that starts things like this, is that express when you're not doing okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's really powerful that you would even share that, because it happened to you and it's a fact. And you had an opportunity then mentally, physically, financially to make decisions that could have affected you for the rest of your life. And you chose to get through it. And I mean, I'm just getting, this is like this much of your entire scale of Paul. But man, that little bit right there resonates with me a lot, because it's tough. It's really, really tough when you're not ready, this mortality thing is very interesting. This adult, like getting older and realizing that life is so futile. Like it's so fast. It really is. I was looking at my wife today. She doesn't even know this, but today I was watching her get ready to go to lunch with a girlfriend of hers. And I thought she right now, she's just absolutely drop dead gorgeous. But I thought and she'll always will be gorgeous to me. But I thought, wow, how crazy it's going to be when I open my eyes one day and we're going to be old and gray and maybe, it's going to happen. And I know that may sound blue and glum, but I embrace it. Like, I know that I'm not getting younger. I know that I'm not, but that's okay. But it makes me appreciate the sweet. And would you say it's a safe statement, Paul, that through all that sour that you went to, and I mean, you had some real sour, like not only God bless your brother, but even that race, the self-infliction of the race and some of these growing pains that you've been through, it makes that sweet so much more sweet, doesn't it? Mm. It's a safe, wouldn't you say?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, I've been to many seminars and courses with some top successful people. But a lot of these people have gone through rock bottom to have that determination and belief in themselves that they can achieve whatever they want. And if anything, now my biggest fear, if I have any fears, is to sort of public speak. It's but I feel I've now got a story that I want to sort of share and help people with. People might hear my story and think, wow, I could never achieve that. But I've given a couple of assemblies at schools and think, even in your young age, there's things that you do and are gifted with, talents, skills that I could never do. When I was younger, I I really struggled academically because I have dyslexia.
Do you really? Wow.
And but now I look at it and I see that as a positive, because it's given me a sort of, I think of things outside the box and have visual skills. Like I studied architecture and product design, and so I sort of see things differently from other people. But I still look at other people and think, or certainly when I was younger, I wish I could do that.
Right.
It's like, why they find that so easy, but I can't.
Right.
So when I've given assemblies, I say to some of the kids, or even adults, when they say, well, I could never do that. Well, there's things that you gifted at. Like you
Right.
might be great at music. I'd never be good at music. I'd love to be. You might have a natural ability with languages.
Right.
I really struggle with languages. So we should not compare other people. Be sort of thankful for what skills you have and take
Right.
those on board, because we all have things that other people are not good at. Just find something that you're passionate about and go for
Right.
it. And don't have regrets. Just find something that you're happy with, even
Right.
if you're never going to reach necessarily the best in the world.
Right.
But just find something that you're happy with and go with it. Don't keep comparing yourself to others. And like these, I was fortunate that when we were traveling and when I was younger, we didn't have all these social platforms,
Right.
social media and internet. But now, yeah, I mean, and again, I'm blessed that my sons haven't gone down that route because they've been passionate about sport. But I see it so many times with younger kids. They're trying to put this front up with social
Yeah.
media and like live this life, or trying to be really popular or be someone they're not really.
Right.
Just, yeah.
You're bringing up a really powerful point, man. That's what I was talking about. I had a really cool guy on the show yesterday, and same principle. Like I'm just getting to know him, and he had some, everyone's got their, and I call it the come to Jesus moment for you. So everyone can call it whatever they want, but that means to me is like you're faced with like it's make or break at this point, and whatever that moment is in your life, we've all had them, and we're gonna have many more of them. I believe that. I don't think life is in seasons, but here's one thing that every time I conclude a show like this at the end of the day, I've been getting like a handful of phone calls from people, and they'll tell me what they're going through, which means the world to me just because I like to listen. And they'll say, like, this show or the principle of this show is helping them just realize that this is not about me. It's not about you. And no one, and I didn't figure this out till it took me way too long to figure this out, but nobody is my source. And a lot of people don't like hearing that. When you tell, it could be your wife, it could be your sister, brother, cousin, I don't care who it is. They're not your source. And if they are, in my belief, you're already, so there's a lot of people that say this, like, he or she makes me a better person. My job makes me, no. I, once again, not trying to mock or make fun of anybody that uses that in their vernacular, but I'm telling you, I used to say that. And that person, that job, that item, whatever it is gone, because it ain't yours.
No.
It's borrowed. It's everything we've got, excluding this consciousness. The one thing we can't explain is not yours.
No.
So I cherish the fact that, how many times you hear people, they go, I used to say this. I had a motorcycle at a very, very young age. My family hated it. I was so proud of myself. I bought my own motorcycle, brand new. And my buddies and we had them. It was so great to have a motorcycle in this area at Bike Week, and it looked cool, and I was young.
Yeah.
I was 19 years old. I had a brand new one of those crotch rockets. Point is, I love this thing. People say, oh, this bike, I love it. I love it. That was I love it. I crashed the bike, almost die. I hated the bike. It was, as soon as it crumpled into the tinfoil, and which it is, it turned into a piece of foil. I hated it. I remember I got in a motorcycle. I got in an accident, and they always say it's like close to your house. I got in an accident right near my house. I could see my house. Pull the corner, hit a mailbox, flip over, bike lands on me, can't get up. I'm young. I'm only 19 years old. I'm still living at my parents' house. I have to get home in time so my parents don't see that I crashed. And I'm like, I have a lot of superficial wounds, nothing bad, thank God. But point is, I hated that bike. It was sitting in the garage. I had a fiscal issue now with fixing it. Just a nightmare. My point is, don't love things that don't have a heartbeat, A. No. And B, don't say that they make you a better person.
No.
Because they're not going to be there. forever. And I feel like you learned that. I didn't learn it I had to learn it the hard way. I wish someone would have told me that. Say, listen, just appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it's powerful, man. And I feel like what's happening with this social media is that, yeah, we all want to look cool and stuff, man. Like I'm guilty as charged. I gotta whore myself out. Like my Facebook profile thing's gotta look cool in this. I get it. We gotta hold ourselves to a standard. You know, I obviously don't want to put one of me bent over doing I get it. But there's also a fine line with being honest and just being sincere and saying that today's not a good day.
Yeah.
Not having a good day today. And if you saw more of that, I think that there would start, and it's happening though. I do believe, I have a lot of hope in humanity. I'm not like, I think that it's good to address it, but then it's also good to kind of educate and say, hey man, it could change. And there are like gentlemen like yourself right now that came on this show today to not talk about, look at me. You're actually being really vulnerable. And I literally pray this every day. I hope that what you're talking about today is going to help somebody, be some kind of a beacon for someone that's going through some jazz. That's like, I can't get through this. I had a very, very dear conversation with somebody yesterday after the show, late night though. And he called me and he's going through a horrible situation with just family issues. And dude, that's real. And there's everyone's got something going on.
Oh, yeah.
But instead of him calling me and being like, yo, I'm the newest of this and I got that, and I got this, that's all great. He chose to tell me the blood, guts, and gore. And I got to connect with him and I just listened to him. Yeah. But man, this is really good stuff. Would you say, what are some of like the woebegones that you deal with now? Some of the things that you are dealing with that do you like, for instance, you said do you have fears? Do you have anxieties that you're dealing with now? Or do you have a good grasp on, look, I don't care where I am. I'm going to make today a great day. Except like, where is Paul right now? More mentally than anything.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. We still have good and bad days. And yeah, I struggle in various things, but I have a different approach and mindset over it now. Well, I've got through these things in the past. Whatever happens, I'm going to get through it.
Right.
And it was another sort of wake up was only January this year. So like only a couple of months ago, my son's cousin, so on my ex's side, he was only 21, and he'd moved to London, and no one really knew about it, but he was really struggling with life, and unfortunately he ended up taking his life. So he was only 21, and it's like in between my son's age. Like,
right.
Wow. And it's a huge factor across the world, but certainly in Britain, it's men under 40, it's the biggest thing that they die from is like suicide.
That's a fact in fact. Right now.
Yeah. So it's a huge problem that young men are really struggling to come to terms with mental issues and health and knowing what they want out of life, or they just, the littlest things can trigger them off. And so I was just like, even though I didn't really know him that well because it was on the other side of the family, just wish I could have been there or said something to him. And I said it to my sons, like, whatever you're going through, I'm not going to judge you. Just be open to tell me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what everyone needs to find, that you're going to have low moments. You're going to have struggles in your life, but find someone that you trust and that won't judge you. And so I feel the things that I've learned through life, if I can be there to help someone, I'm never going to judge anyone for anything they say or do.
Right.
Because I've made many mistakes. Some people may see them as failures, but I see them as life experiences.
Right.
So yeah, just share, be open, but find people that are going to not judge you.
Do you think it's a fair statement to say, because I was talking to my buddy yesterday for a while on the phone, and we're trying to figure out, just make sure we're still good here. I think we are. That I'm in this position now where I'm trying to learn how sometimes to maybe get yourself away from situations and or people that are not conducive. And it's rather surreal sometimes when it's maybe it could unfortunately be an immediate family member. It could be a colleague at work. I'm not sure. But point is that have you noticed that there is a really sensitive issue with, I feel like we owe it to ourselves. I think if people started taking care of themselves first before they stop trying to fake something and address the good and the bad, then I feel like that's when they start to become useful, not only to themselves, but society and those that are around them.
Totally.
And I'm learning, and this is all happening at like light speed now, because I put myself in a vulnerable position. That's part of this whole show, is like, I want to be told that I'm an idiot. I want to be told that I'm good. I want it all. And I want to learn from people. That's actually the whole premise of the show, is to learn for my own sake.
Yeah.
And I just broadcasting it. But what I'm learning is, at my age now, being a 30-nothing and still feeling like I'm 10, I don't really know what's going on. I'm dealing with, like, when someone becomes super taxing, or they're like, if you can call it whatever you want, the negative people or this, everyone didn't have a negative day, I guess. But when it becomes chronic, have you found yourself to have to remove people and their situations for your own sake?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think after spending a lot of time and energy trying to look after everyone else when I lost my brother, that was then, I think, actually, I need to spend some time looking after myself. So that's when I took a step back. And at first, I found it really hard. I felt a bit guilty. I felt, actually, I should be doing something for it. But I'd given so much to other people, it completely drained me emotionally and physically. And so actually, I took sort of 2 years out, and this is my time. I can't help other people unless I look after myself.
Right.
So totally agree with what you're saying there. There's like, yeah, there are times when people have really got to look after people, whether they're ill or injured, or it's like young kids or whatever. But you've got to have the health and the energy. If you don't love yourself and you don't have that passion and happiness in your life, how are you going to help other people?
Amen.
And yeah, there's certainly people around me that they sap energy from you. It's like, okay, I'm willing to help and support you where I can,
right?
But not if you're going to completely bring me down,
right?
So it's getting that balance right. Yeah, I want to sort of help people and not judge them for what they're going through, but yeah, it's getting the balance right. Because if you get pulled in too much,
right,
then you're going to get pulled down as well.
It's powerful, man. I've been sharing as I'm growing and learning, because I don't have it figured out at all, but I'm learning that there are types of behavior that are just taxing. We're all guilty of it. I'm no saint. I'm sure there's people that are like, I can't stand this guy around. He's a loud Italian, whatever. But there are some people where they're just habitually taxing. And it's more, not even just, there's some that are just taxing financially. The guy that doesn't bring the wallet, that's all stuff that can be, I think, but when it becomes like metaphysical, is there something unexplainable about it? And then that's when you're right, where all of a sudden, it's like this perfect storm, right? You have guy or gal that's already faking it. Things are great. It's not great.
No.
And then you have the taxing. They make this person into a group, and that person into a group brings in the other. And let's just say you are at peace and you are centered for the day, because it's not forever. We all go, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't want to hear you talking about not, what do you, when you can see someone almost like metaphorically putting a dagger to their own wrist, where they're in their suck and they're just saying like, it's never going to get better. Like Joe Rogan had this video that everything he does is viral, but he had a little video come out recently, and it's like a 2-minute clip of one of his long shows, but it's him angry and passionate about, get away from me if you are going to talk to me about, oh, woe is me, and I'm having bad this and that. And do something about it. Read a book, take a walk, call someone. I don't know, but figure it out. It's okay. It really is. And I've been saying this in like the last 3 or 4 shows. Shout out to Whitney. She said, sit in your suck. I think it's really good to sit in it, but not stay in it. And it just sounds like, man, you've been through, how it's so funny. So I've been always trying to like learn and enlighten myself. And I told my wife, I said, why so many people are always probably fighting just in the jungle here, in the world, the thing called life of jungle. let's say you're already pissed off. You leave the house pissed and you feel like someone owes you something, whether it's the guy upstairs, whatever it is, your boss, this, you already leave. There's like a crack in the foundation of your soul for the day. You're already pissed. And instead of just filling it with something good, maybe a prayer, maybe a book, maybe a phone call, and admitting to somebody, I'm broken today, can you help me? And reaching out, they go out, the foundation's cracked, and then you cut me off at the Starbucks.
Yeah.
So I'm so stupid. And I'm like, hey, Giacomo, you know, and you're like, and you're having a great day. Now you hopefully are not affected negative because you're like, this guy, you know, there's a saying, hurt people, but it's just this like, it's like this curse. It doesn't leave you if you don't shake it. And I'm seeing that a lot, man. It's weird being a good weird. Everything's being 30 nothing in 2019, man. I remember thinking when I was like a teenager, I'm like, my parents don't know what it's like. I still don't know. You know what I mean? Like as I gotten older, I'm like, no one knows what it's like. And to think, I heard someone say the other day, like Miami is only a one human old, because it's like the city of Miami is like less than 100 years old. And it's surreal to think about. And then you amplify that and you think like how young we still are as a species. We're nothing.
Yeah.
And if we just boil it down and what you experienced in Africa, you saw like the real, right?
Yeah. And I see that with kids as well. It's like we need to almost unlearn what we suppress ourselves as adults. Find that inner child. Just like, it's something, just go out and have a laugh.
Yeah.
Why do we take life too seriously? And that's why if I'm feeling a bit down, just be surrounded by kids that are quite happy and just get excited about little things. And it creates a smile. And think, wow, yeah. It's like, and yeah, I think it's easier to switch a child's focus around. Like if they're having a tantrum or something, I'm quite good at helping kids to just distract them and then sort of put a smile on their face. Like if only I could do that for adults as well.
Yeah.
But I think my focus is now that because of the things I've gone through and see it in so many people that I've met as well, they say, oh yeah, I'm going to work hard until I retire and then I can achieve what I want to do. Then I can go traveling. But then I've heard it so many times that within a year of retirement, they've either their health's gone down or they've actually died. I think, no, life is about living.
Right.
I used to think, yeah, I'm going to have my dream house, dream car,
right,
dream woman. I'm going to travel. Think, yeah, but I'm not materialistic now. My life now, I just want to live it and create these wonderful memories. And if I'm there to help people, I used to think I could help people that are maybe going through like marital problems or whatever. But then I thought, no, if they want to come to me for help, then I can give them some advice, but I'm not there to try and help them unless I can give advice, but I can't solve their problems. They've got to solve them themselves.
That's super powerful because I have a dear friend of mine who calls me pretty much on a daily basis. And it's like first thing in the morning, afternoon-ish. And we'll talk about the, like, lack of better words, like the ugly. We're not like, it's the stuff that they're going through. And I say to them all the time, I can't give you any advice because totally different place in life.
Yeah.
I got nothing in common with what they're going through. And I mean that in a good way. Like, it's not a bad or a good thing. It's just the fact that I'm not going to sit and be like, okay, what you're going to want to do is take a vitamin C. It's not nothing to do about, it's just where they're at career-wise, geographically, this. So I'm always keen on always say, like, I have no idea. And it's really weird now knowing that even the oldest dude alive is less than 100. And God bless, but after 100, if they're still sound mind, sound body, maybe get some advice, but it's tough. Like we're not here very long. And there's a lot to be said about this too. And this is happening more now than I think ever, is this get rich quick scheme and people posting online about all the money they got and what they're doing. And look, if you're doing that, fine. More power to you. God bless. I'm too scared to do that. Let's just say I made $1 million today, right? Let's say. I would be so scared to post it if I did, because I would know how precious it was that I did get it.
Yeah.
Because I understand the work, the sweat, Now granted, you win the lottery, even then you should probably keep your mouth shut. But if you really worked as hard as you are and you're achieving the things that you want, then there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's a lot of people that they take messages like this and they confuse it with, well, what's wrong with me having my nice, Porsche 911 GTR? 100%. But is it own you? If you don't have a job tomorrow, are you in over your head?
Yep.
But I think it's all about chasing those things. So I grew up, what young guy in this era of life doesn't want to have what we see online? And it's in our face more now than ever. Yeah. Wouldn't you say that safe? Like when you were growing up say when you were 15 years old, you couldn't turn on Facebook and see someone in a drop top Lamborghini at 18, which I see. And they're dudes that are interneting. And you know how the flesh, how fast I'm like, damn, I'm not doing something right. But I thank God I can subdue it now. I said, wait a minute. What's that guy feel like? Does he sleep well?
Yes.
Is his family healthy? And if they are, then great. Then he did. Then I find that I envy that to its capacity. But if we as a society, which I think it is happening though, man, people are becoming smarter if they're utilizing this for the sake of growing. And there is. That's why I hope that you were interested in coming on to this, because the silver lining to the show, Paul, is to help people out and to grow like here.
Yeah.
Because that's all we got. At the end of the day, like how precious is it that we're all just going to, at the end of the day, it's going to be you and whoever you want to believe in your maker. That's what I believe. And I know that at the end of the day, the number one question I probably get from like the superficial corpo people of like, what do you consider success? Blah, blah, blah. How was your third quarter, second quarter? I literally say the more I sleep would be I want sleep and peace.
Yeah.
Like, do you sleep well? If you don't mind me, sleep good?
Most of the time, yeah.
It's great. You know how
I think exercise certainly helps that. It clears your head. Well, that's my sort of way of clearing my head, is going out for a run or doing some strenuous exercise. I mean, I do manual labor, so
you're tired.
Yes, physically. I couldn't do. I've tried office jobs, just sat down there. I get more drained just sat in front of a screen than I do like doing a full day's manual labor. But I think what you're saying, we came into this world with nothing, and we can't take anything with us. So you might have a dream to have this amazing house or car, but you're not going to take it with you. And I mean, it's shown on so many people, like the likes of Steve Jobs, that he had all the money in the world.
I know.
But as soon as your health's gone, that's it. So just live the day.
Right.
If you got a dream, maybe one day I'll do that dream. No, start working on it now.
Just do it now.
Do it now.
But there's that to be said too. There's a lot of people pushing this, because I listen to a lot of like podcasts and things, and sometimes there seems to be this like jaded message of almost like they kind of like talk down to the 9 to 5. They talk down to the structured job. You got to work. I'm not like, I can't stand sometimes when you get those, and it's no one individually. It's just like this scene of like, not everyone, I had to learn at a very young age, not everyone's made to be an entrepreneur.
No.
Not everyone's made to be a doctor. Not everyone's made. But the beautiful part is there's a place for everyone. Yeah. And I sincerely believe that you can love your place of employment. And I don't look down on anything, because I've come from doing some stuff that I hated to do, quote unquote. But I look back on it now and I think if I would have put myself in the owner's position and stopped thinking that they owed me something, I probably would have did my job a lot better, and I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more, because every business wants to make more money. So if you become part of the solution and don't look at yourself as just this like employee, I guarantee you there's going to be this like paradigm shift of thought of thinking, wait a minute, I may just be mopping the floors at Subway, which I used to do. And I used to want to kill myself. I hated it. Not literally, my apologies, but I hated it. I was like, I couldn't stand this. I'm literally cleaning the bathrooms at Subway. I was 14 years old. But I remember using that as a building block. But I didn't know at 14 that I didn't know what a franchise was. It was just a guy that owned the build. I didn't like him because he was richer than, right? You're like, my boss sucks. If I would have looked at that job as like, man, I'm going to make this Subway better. Or maybe bring some kind of systematic process to the board and said, hey, man, I think I can mop the floor better and faster, and I can get out of work earlier, and you could save some money, instead of thinking like someone owes me something. That's what I'm trying to preach to the younger folk out there, that everyone's got to work. Don't chase this imaginary influencer Instagram lifestyle. That's great. If it happens for you, God bless.
Yeah.
If you're a drop dead gorgeous blonde or whatever the case may be, and you could take photos and get paid $1 bazillion for it, good for you. Ain't gonna last, but do it, save your money, and God bless.
Yeah.
But for the most folk, the 99% rest of us, gotta work. And there's something that I hope doesn't get lost in this convoluted social media atmosphere of getting rich quick and or not providing a product and their service. And I don't care what you're doing, do it and do it well. And I don't want to sound spiritual, but I do believe that if you start to treat your clients or friends better than you like treat yourself, then there's something like on the other side of that. Like the minute you stop focusing on yourself and take that phone call, help that person, there's this like breakthrough.
Yeah.
It could be like the guy you helped end up owning Apple. And it's like, hey, man, you really had a great spirit. That happened to me at a young age. I was working at Staples and I would build furniture when people would come in and they couldn't get the furniture built. Staples didn't have a process back then. I was 16, 17 years old. So I'm selling furniture and they would come in. They wanted me to, they were like, where do I get this built? I didn't know how the hell to build. And those that know me, I can't tinker, but I said, I'll build it, $50 or something, and I go to their house. I bit off way too much that I could chew. And I went to this old lady's house to go build this desk. Well, Paul, 6 hours later, there's no desk. It's still pieces on the floor. And I'm like, what? And she was sweet as a button. She's coming with tea. She thought everything was, she's like, thank God I hired you. I would have never been able to do it. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Long story short, I achieved the desk. Her son ended up being like one of the major producers in the Conan O'Brien show. This is when I was 17, 18 years old. And I'll never forget, she literally calls him and he's like, listen, you're coming to the Conan. Do you like Conan? I said, yes. He said, you're coming to come to the Conan. But my point is, you never know.
No, exactly.
Right? You never know. And I went to New York City and I brought me and my buddy Scotty and my cousin and we went to the Conan O'Brien show behind the stage. Now, that was a big deal. And it was such a little miracle for us because like we would have never had the financials to be able to do it, go to the show, blah, blah, blah. But point is, man, it's like the minute you stop focusing on yourself and put in a little bit of TLC to somebody. But yeah, man, this was good. So what's next? Do we have a after Florida? Where are we going?
Well, if this Spain project happens, that might.
Spain's the next.
Julian Hughes. I won't say much about him because you may even interview him, but he's a bit of an entrepreneur as well. We've had many great conversations, him and I. But one thing, because he's employed quite a few people over the years, and I've had people work with me when I've had bigger projects. He said that he doesn't have people work for him; he has people work with him. Mm. And I think that's just a great mentality. It's like no matter if you're the top of the CEO or whatever, it's like every one part of that ladder is part of the jigsaw puzzle. Everyone plays their part. So yeah, like you're saying about find your passion. Okay, you might be doing a job that you don't actually like, but it's just a mindset. You find something in that job that you actually enjoy, or that it's a stepping stone for part of your life.
Right.
It will lead on to other things. And you might think, oh, why am I going through this? But you'll look back and say, actually, that was part of the puzzle for what's going to happen to my life now.
It's huge. I say it a lot, but what you do with a little, you're going to do with a lot. And I'm glad the guy upstairs has brought me through, and I'm still in it. But Carla shared a nice story with her going through her suck on the show the other day, that she's going through some entrepreneurial doubt. Like, what? It's tough. But what we got to figure, if we can't manage, let's just say $1,000 a month of income, you ain't gonna be able to manage $1 billion.
No.
So I've learned when I was 17, I wanted $1 billion. I would have lost it probably in 24 hours because I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
I tell my wife this all the time. Thank God I didn't go to 50 clients day one of whatever, just think about, even if you're just whatever you're doing, take it simple and enjoy the process. I'm glad now I couldn't handle 10,000 clients, but that may be the goal. But now I know I'd rather get there slowly than get a phone call today of 10. I couldn't do it.
No.
And if you want to fake it, like, you fine. I used to. You ever heard that fake it till you make it? I
yeah.
completely disagree. I used to say that, and I did. I was the suit and tie and the nice car and this, and I never had anything. I was broke as a joke, but it looked good.
Yeah.
But I was empty here. Now I have fullness here, and I don't have to fake anything. Like, I literally sit at my kitchen table with people, and I've been told this time after time that they feel comfortable, and that means more to me than you giving me $1 million check right now. And as crazy as it sounds, it really does. And that's what I'm hoping. And that's happening to me. And we're friends now forever. I'll be there soon. I'm not in London, but I'm Spain and Italy very shortly.
Right.
Man U versus Barca.
Oh, wow.
Second leg. Champions League. Never have I ever. I've seen Messi once. I brought my grandfather to see him, but it was one of those where they do, those like kind of charity events. It was one of those games. So I saw a bunch of great, like, Drogba and Falcao and Messi, but it wasn't a game. But when we saw him, I'll never forget, my grandfather started to like tear up. I mean, I did. I was like looking at him like, oh my God, we were in Miami. What a moment to see that greatness. But yeah, the football world, man, I eat, breathe, sleep that.
Is Beckham still planning to go to Miami?
To start a team, supposedly.
So he's going to bring in a lot of big names then there.
Ronaldo's on the brink of doing probably something too big. I hope he chooses the States. And even if he doesn't him physically do it, I hope he births a team, because it's happening. It's slowly but surely happening. I might not see it in my lifetime, unfortunately, where it's like a religion that it is pretty much everywhere else but the States.
Yeah.
But we're living in a great time right now with some of the greatest players, I think, that are at the Messis and the Ronaldos and some of the.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite footballer right now? Or it's not really your.
No. Yeah, like I said, I prefer to take part than watch, but
right.
I respect their ability on the pitch. But sometimes, like the likes of Ronaldo, they frustrate me sometimes if they take a dive and think, oh, come on. And you see like rugby players and they're getting hit all over the place, and you get a footballer just rolling over from a little tap on their foot.
Yeah.
Think, come on, man up.
Those give us a bad name. I know. Well, let's do this, man. This was really powerful. Do you don't really have, it's funny because sometimes people that live here locally think that they have to have like a business or something, but you don't have to. But if you did, do you have anything that you want to, because I'll be putting links and stuff, but did you have anything that you would want to leave off with like
my own personal product maintenance back home is just, I've never really marketed it. It's just been word of mouth. But yeah, I've got big plans for challenges and adventures traveling. So if I continue my travels and I set up a blog, Facebook page, and I'll send you the link.
Please do. I think it's that's a lot of people are finding that to be fascinating and following. So I will. You got a fan in me, man. You really made my day. But I really appreciate you coming on, and I guess I'm good. If you got anything else? I think good.
Right.
This was a good one, man. That was really. Let me get this.
How long was it for?
I don't know.
Wow.
You never know. It's this one's. We'll end this one. You never know. Look at a guy named Paul. I love it. Dude, that was really, really good, man. Did you feel, was it comfortable? Is it okay for you?
Yeah, I mean, when you said